Since the tragedy at Sandy Hook, parents who lost their young children are fueling their mission for change by helping districts across the country. And they're doing it all through the nonprofit Sandy Hook Promise, which trains students and teachers about the warning signs of gun violence. They say their training prevented several planned attacks at schools around the country. News 12's Shosh Bedrosian spoke with Mark Barden, who lost his son Daniel, and is one of the parents leading the way in this movement.
I mean, this means so much to me. Where do I start? I mean, I really began this work, nearly 10 years ago as a way to honor my son Daniel, who was such a compassionate, aware little boy who was always concerned about others. And we always thought that was such a beautiful quality in him. We used to call him the caretaker of all living things because he would take care of other kids his age. He would look out for everybody, adults and kids. He would pick up the worms off the sidewalk so they wouldn't burn in the sun. Of course, the obvious desperation that his life was taken from him, and he lost that opportunity to be that light of compassion in the world. So I feel a very urgent sense of responsibility to try to take that for him to the best of my ability. And I feel very privileged to do this work with Sandy Hook Promise. We can speak to 11, at the very least, 11 school shootings that were planned and imminent and about to happen, that students trained in our Know the Science programs followed the model and stepped in and connected somebody to help before it became a terrible tragedy.
I mean, 11 school shootings. There was actually one in particular, I believe last April in West Virginia, where a student saw another student on a bus with a gun, and they reported what they saw to the bus driver. And after an investigation, police determined that that student actually had a plan when they went to school and what they were going to do. What's it like for you as a parent who's been through so much, be so instrumental in so many people's lives?
Yeah, it's amazing to know that we are actually doing what we set out to do. We give these programs to schools for no cost. We really work hard to sustain the program, so we don't just do an assembly and the students get one exposure to it. We really want to build this into the culture and the climate of the schools, so the students constantly know what to do. If they see warning signs, they know they have to connect that person to a trusted adult. Either they can tell the trusted adult or use the anonymous reporting system. And now to see that the model is actually working and working well and working numerous times, they will take that into their lives. It becomes part of who they are. They will bring it to their families. And through generations, we see the impact of this actual culture change. We're just getting started.
How does that make you feel though, Mark? As someone who's been through so much, seeing your work make a difference?
For someone who will always live with the devastating pain of losing my child in a preventable mass shooting, it's very gratifying for me. I feel like I'm bringing Daniel's sense of connection and kindness to students across the country. I'm saving other families from having to live this pain. It makes me feel it's hard. I'll make no mistake. It's hard work. It's difficult to be immersed in so much that is connected to the tragedy that has affected us so deeply. But it's a privilege to be able to do this work. It's an honor that the folks who work in Sandy Hook Promise, our staff, does this so well and makes this organization as successful as it is. And it makes me feel like I am honoring Daniel's life.
That was Shosh Bedrosian reporting. And to hear more from Mark, tune in tomorrow, where he discusses how his family is doing 10 years later. For the full conversation, you can go to the news site at news12.com.